having a good Monday. I'm recording this on a Monday, which is not the norm for me. Usually I try to record them during the week or the weekend some days because the energy can be different when I haven't worked my 9 to 5 all day on a Monday. Mondays, I'm working on having a more optimistic perspective on Mondays, and today was a start. So it was a really good day. Happy to be back for another episode. I will have just celebrated my 2-year anniversary with Margot. We don't actually have plans yet, but we're making plans. Thinking about doing experience, so maybe a comedy show, something other than dinner, even though we do like to eat and like to try new restaurants. I love having experiences as dates as well because I feel like they bond you in different ways and you get to learn more about the person that you're with. So, thinking about a comedy show because we both love to laugh. And as we approach Virgo season, as I'm looking ahead to 31, I wanted to share 10 lessons that I learned this past year. They were a lot more lessons that I learned, but I narrowed it down to 10. These are things that over the past year I have realized and have made a conscious effort to practice in my day to day. Some months are better than others, but thought that this would be a great opportunity to reflect. And I can't believe it's almost been 56 episodes since last August. It's wild to think about and exciting at the same time. And I'm so excited to see what's in store for the pod in this next year. I am already starting to look ahead into future guest interviews and rack up a bunch of interviews. So that content I got it coming. Lots of great people that I'm reaching out to. And I talk a little bit about this in next week's episode, which is my interview with Rose, who used to be my former co host when I first started the podcast. So, super excited to get back on the mic with her. It was a really fun time recording and I just love recording with her. It's always a really good time and it's awesome to see how much she's grown in this past year and how our friendship has grown. It gets me in my feels in all the best ways. So tune into next week's episode. It is a long one, but a good one. And jumping into the first lesson I learned, celebrate the little wins. This is something that I have been working on of late, and I started it with walking. I have struggled with physical activity, part of my consistent routine over the past 2 years, but the last 8 months, I have been walking consistently, taking baby steps towards improving my health, and it feels really good. I made this a habit for most of my days at the beginning, probably the first 6 months. I was walking at least 3 to 4 times a week to get into the habit. And now I've scaled back a bit and it's been really great. I feel good. My mind is more clear. So I really love walking. I work from home, so it's a little bit easier for me to walk, and I walk during work because I love to kill two birds with one stone. And there's so many times when I'm regardless going to be sitting there anyway. So part of me thinks to myself, why don't I walk a bit? It's not that hard to walk at a slow pace. It took a lot of practice. So sharing a few tips, and then I'm going to move on to the next lesson. But if you're interested in walking and you work from home, it can be intimidating, but I would start with walking while you watch TV or a movie. So in your free time, and then start to reply to emails at the end of your day, do simple tasks. Rose gave me this tip a while back and it really came in handy. Start slow until you get the hang of it, and then you can start to do more things. So, on average, I walk about 3 to 5 miles some days. It feels really great. It's doable when I'm in a meeting and I don't need to be typing a novel. and you'd be surprised how many meetings you join where you're not the one who is potentially responsible with what the immediate next step is or how you could easily walk while you work. So that is celebrate the little wins. Slow growth is growth. The next one is I can't be everything to everyone. As much as I want to be everywhere and with everyone all at the same time, but I have to balance my goals and dreams. And this one is a challenge for me, but it also is a lesson that I've learned this past year. And I've learned that by burning myself out because I have a awesome 9 to 5 and a passion project that I love, a lot of family that I love as well. So I have learned that I have to take care of myself in order to take care of others. That can be hard at times, but it's important that we give ourselves love and do things that fill our cup up and help us grow. So I can't be everything to everyone. No one can. And I have learned and been reminded that I own my energy and need to use it wisely. The next one is stretching is king. Let's be real, I wasn't stretching a lot in my 20s, and I know stretching's good for you. I would stretch if I was going to go on a long run. If I was playing kickball, I played kickball or volleyball. But if I was just walking, I wasn't necessarily stretching. I learned the hard way that it's good to stretch, and I could get away with it at one point in my life, but I'm not in that phase anymore. So the jig is up. I've embraced stretching before I walk. I stretch 8 out of 10 times before I walk. I am making baby steps towards getting that 10 out of 10, but I'm doing it. And I have to give a shout out to my boyfriend, Marco, who used to be a physical trainer because he gave me his pro tips. So kudos to you, boo. And thank you for my knees. Thank you. My calves. Thank you. My body. Thanks you. Next is follow my curiosity and go at my own pace. So this is something that I learned in the fall after I had turned 30. So a few months into my 30th year. Staying curious is a good thing. I'm all here for it, but there was a point where I felt pressured to profit from my passion projects. And in feeling that pressure, I signed up for courses. Some were free, some weren't free. All of them I learned great things in, but I jumped into a deep end, one could say, when I didn't need to. And I was enjoying learning about new things that I got to choose out that were new outside of my 9 to 5. But I got to a point where I was stretching myself thin and running into creative blocks. After looking inward, I realized that I was pressuring myself to move at a pace that that wasn't aligned with my overall priorities, and I ultimately slowed down. It was hard for me to decide to do that because I'm an ambitious person. I'm someone who likes to finish what they start. I learned that it's okay to put something down and put it on pause and pick up something else. It doesn't mean that I am a failure in a sense or I'm a quitter because I choose to be the master of my own energy. So I still am continuing to follow my curiosity, but I'm going at my own pace. And I invested in some courses that were kind of expensive, but I don't regret it because I learned a lot. And the ones that I did invest in, I have access to a course library forever. So I may not be finishing it now, but I could finish it at some point in the future. Who knows? I was curious about it at one point, and I may be curious again, but if I'm not, that's okay too. We live and we learn. And I wanted to share that story because it led me to this perspective and this lesson. And I hold on to it with this podcast to make sure I'm always doing it and encouraging myself to stay curious. That's where the magic moments happen, in my opinion. So, next up, we have leading with gratitude, kindness, and patience. This one is one of my favorite lessons that I have learned this year, and I think I know that I already knew this lesson, but I was challenged in all aspects of my life this year, and not once, but twice and 3 times, and remembering this and practicing this kept me centered at times. It's a way of life that I haven't always been the best at modeling and practicing myself, and that's not to say I'm not kind or I don't show gratitude or patience. I do, but I've really focused on working on that this past year, and I plan to hone on this as I continue to grow because there is so much out there in the world. And I hate to say it, but there is a lot of darkness and a lot of pessimism and negativity. So, a lot of excuses of why people act the way that they act and treat other people in inhumane ways and other living beings in like inhumane ways. So, I want to be one of the good ones fighting the good fight. And my next lesson is staying open to new perspectives. I truly think that if you can stay self aware and open to how others feel and perceive things, you will see new perspectives and grow your communication skills. I practice this daily in my 9 to 5 as a project manager, and it's helped me tremendously in my personal life as well when I run into people that don't have the same perspective as me or can't be solution oriented or lots of other things, challenges. So we're not all going to agree. We all have our own perspective. Being open to other people's perspectives and being willing to receive what they're saying and is so important, in my opinion. The next one is build the culture you want to see. This one I love and have realized time and time again, but is a lesson that I have learned this past year and something I've practiced in my 9 to 5. We have a culture committee and I joined it. I've been in it, I want to say at least a year now, and have been helping spearhead some culture initiatives to help grow our culture as a team. And it has been so rewarding and so fun at the same time. I've bonded with different people. I've been able to tap into my creativity in different ways, in ways that I used to a lot in my early career because I started off as a coordinator at NBC in their internal creative agency. And I was also an executive assistant and a coordinator at the same time, but didn't have the executive assistant title. And I was helping build culture for a large team and doing monthly birthday celebrations, planning the holiday party. I did a retreat for 40 people. So she has experience. And I've also been lucky to work with awesome people, have great mentors. So build the culture you want to see, use your influence for good and the greater good of the team, the company, your client. Just do good, be good. And if you aren't happy with the culture that is around you and people aren't willing to see your perspective, don't be afraid to find your people. It can be scary and easy to get caught up in an environment where you are not valued, and it is so important to remember that there is your tribe's out there somewhere. They really are. The grass is not always greener, but you got to stay true to yourself. And I have definitely put up with certain things in my lifetime. But now, as I become more senior in my career, I also want to make sure that I'm encouraging people to raise their own hand to build the culture that you want to see. My next lesson is happiness is not a destination, happiness is a direction. And that is a quote from Arthur Brooks. I did an episode in late 2023 based on a episode that I had listened to on Oprah's podcast, and it was really interesting because this professor was a professor of happiness, and they talked about this concept of building a life that you love, and it was based off of a book. So I will include a link to the episode in the show notes. But the biggest takeaway was that happiness isn't a destination. And Oprah and Arthur were talking a bit about how people look at they just want to be happy. When you ask someone what they want to be happy and they want to do things that make them happy, but things and money and material objects don't always have that exact result. It's a choice that you make to be happy, and it's a way of thinking and being, and it's a mindset. And if you can really embrace that mindset and embody it, then you are going to be happy. But if you are telling yourself you want to be happy, but you're not actually consciously practicing and doing things and giving your energy to things that are would make you happy in your core and being grateful, then it may be a bit difficult to achieve that. So those are very high level takeaways from this episode. It's really great. It's worth a listen. So check it out in the show notes in the episode description. The last two lessons are you own your energy, use it wisely. I mentioned this previously throughout in one of these lessons, and I wanted to call it out again because I have learned this in my 9 to 5 with the podcast this past year and as I continue to grow in my career and with all of the change that has happened in my life. So people may want a lot from you, and I feel that at times. And I also expect a lot out of myself, and those can clash. And I'm sure we can all relate to this. So remember that you own your own energy, use it wisely, and that's not selfish. The last lesson is financial planning. So I've learned this the most in my relationship over the past year as I have lived with my boyfriend for longer. We're going through new life obstacles, challenges, entering new chapters. So every relationship is different. If you're not in a relationship in general, you this is something good to have top of mind. Doing what's best for you and what is going to help you achieve your goals and ideally within the law, following the laws, but spending time to educate yourself financially, get a second opinion, make sure it's someone that you trust. There are a lot of ways to build an empire and have multiple revenue streams, but it starts with learning those ways. And there is your plan, but if you're in a relationship, there is also another person's plan. And having open dialogue when it comes to finances and letting someone in, if you know you can trust them, ideally, is so important, and really doing what's best for the both of you, not just what's best for one individual. This can be easier said than done, but it is so important. And I learned from my financial advisor that a lot of couples are broken up from finances. I mean, we see it in social media and on the news, and it is a real thing. So don't stick your head in the sand. Embrace it. It's going to help you grow and you're going to continue to thrive. And that is that's a wrap for August. The next two episodes are interview episodes. You're going to love them. I'm excited about both of them, and I love this month because it's my birthday month. I can acknowledge that while I'm a summer baby, fall is upon us. It's here very soon. So some fall ins and outs are in. These are things that are in Marvel marathons. The Deadpool and Wolverine movie set my boyfriend and I off on a Marvel marathon universe. So Marvel marathons, Downton Abbey, round 3, here we go. It's going to be my third time watching it through and through. Finally decided to buy the show because I can't be bothered with the ads on every platform when I'm trying to watch my show. hiking. I want to take my walking from inside to the outsides, preferably when it's not 99 degrees outside, but I may have to compromise because it's Southern California. Interior design, home decor, here we go. Potentially going to paint one wall in the office and our bedroom. I am intimidated, but not going to let that stop me. Lunch breaks, need to take them. They're a real thing. We got to fight for the lunch break because there was a time in my career when lunch breaks weren't a thing, and it's starting to feel like that some days. So, lunch breaks, here we go. Within reason, obviously, but we all are due a lunch break. Coloring outside the lines, having fun with it, staying curious, being playful, doing whatever I want with the podcast because it's my fun, creative passion project. And I can pivot and I can switch it up and bring fresh and fun content because that is the beautiful thing about having creative control over your own creative project. Building culture. I am working on it, trying to make some fun things happen at work. Excited about it. Water first thing when I wake up. Baby steps. Marco's helping me a lot with this. I'm going to give him the credit. I'm trying to drink a cup of water when I wake up, like first thing. It's so easy of a concept, but my body can't be bothered. It wants coffee. So I know I'm going to get there. Pilates when I'm not walking. Walking has had a lot of my time this year, and I'm excited to do some other workouts. Traveling, Euro trip 2024, fall 2024. Here we go. Speaking it into existence because I have yet to start planning. So this is me pressuring myself to make a plan now that it's been announced on the podcast, and I have announced it in every other space in my life as well. So fall trip, super excited. Haven't booked a ticket or picked a place, but I think I'm going to visit some people that I know that live out there outside of the family that I'm visiting. So I will keep you all posted. Bangs, she did it. I have bangs now. They're curtain bangs. I am extremely frustrated when styling them every day, but I am loving them and learning how to style them again. So that is fun. More updates to come there. Out for fall 2024 is working through my lunch break. It's a bad habit. I kicked it at one point. It started again. I'm trying to stop it. I know I'm gonna conquer that one. Hoarding PTO days. I have to start planning ahead. I haven't been planning, and while that's okay, I see people going on vacation, and I'm getting to the point where I am frustrated. You know, when you're frustrated and you see someone going somewhere, and you're like, "Damn, why haven't I booked myself a trip yet? What am I doing?" That is where I'm at. So I know it's about time that I need to go to Europe. It's been almost 2 years, so I'm stoked about it and keeping the momentum up throughout the year. Giving my energy away. I need to ration it and be more intentional. Out is falling asleep on the couch because I'm too lazy to come to bed. Sure, Marco will appreciate this one. I can't be bothered at the end of the day. I'm either working on the podcast, I put my laptop to the side and then I fall asleep sometimes, or I want to watch the rest of an episode and then I fall asleep and it's the middle of the night and then it's not the way to get a good night's rest. So, taming my personality is the last one. I gotta let it shine. I realize that lots has changed in this past year. A lot has changed in this past year, and I am getting to know myself as I grow and evolve and continue to tap into this creative side. And it's been a long time since I was consistently this creative and getting to do fun things like help build culture at work. And I love it. So, out is taming my personality, in is talking about whatever I want to talk about, whenever I want to talk about it, as long as it's appropriate. And I love you all. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being a part of my growth journey. I know that it may seem like I'm making a big deal of about turning 31, but I am living in the moment and practicing gratitude to simply be alive and have a cool job and have a awesome podcast and get to bond with so many cool people while creating this digital diary that I love and in a way has been a journal for me over the past year and a half. We are 81 episodes in. We will be getting to 100 this year. And I can't wait to see what fall brings me and all of us. I'm very excited for the home decorating for sure. I have a few things that have been hiding away waiting for fall to come back again. So here we go. Have a wonderful week. Talk soon.
Music and editing done by Marco. You can find him at Midnight, MIDNITE_mind80 on Instagram for more of his work.